It's time for another episode of the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner.
This is Corey.
And this is David. We haven't done that for a long
No,
time.
I know.
know, isn't it kind of a flashback?
Tanner's
Right?
still trying to find his way.
I don't
on
think I'll
intros.
ever find my way. But that's the way it goes. Listeners, appreciate you as always. Send those ideas, 515-207-9640. If you're out and about, that's a way to find us, too. All those come directly to us so we can get back in touch with you. Thanks for all the ideas. This is kind of one of those topics that I think is going to be important to a lot of you.
It's one we've talked about a lot, but I don't think I'd ever thought that we'd actually be interviewing someone on it.
I know, and it's probably one of those that we didn't know who the expert was going to be until we found the expert.
Well, there you go.
Luckily, we've got Cody to find the expert.
I know. We get to, we're probably going to spend a majority of this show just reflecting on who little Cody was. You know, get the dirty.
The true story.
What was it like
True story.
as a kid? But no, want to introduce and welcome our guest today. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's a hot day outside, so it's a great day to be inside enjoying this podcast. So
That is true. Recording this here at the end of June, just before the 4th of July, America's
like
250th.
90 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It is, but it is cools 69 degrees in the studio.
Yeah.
No, fair
The
enough.
90's not that bad. It's the humidity. That's the Iowa
It's
thing.
the
That's
humidity.
the Iowa thing to say. It's the corn sweat.
That's right.
Yes.
Reminded me of days growing up. Of course, I grew up in a small town in Newmarket, but lived in town. But I was often hired out to go work for farmers, putting up hay on days like today.
Yeah.
So
What is it with us and always wanting to? It's like put up the hay, clean out the grain bin.
I know.
You
Yep.
know, that's
I
all.
know.
All we want to do. I actually had some Snapchats of someone cleaning out a grain bin today. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was 75 degrees all last week and cloudy. Like that would have been the ideal time. You didn't think about.
Yeah, but you were working, so you couldn't have done it.
That's true. You were making me work. So
Dave mowed hay today, and I don't think he's going to put up small squares this week.
no,
Are
a
you?
little too humid.
Nope. I sold that baler. We're done. It's all round bales
Too
from
much
here on
labor.
out. Yep.
Dave, actually, your party was last weekend, and
Yeah.
someone came up to me that hadn't ever been there before, and he's like, "Does Dave have a fetish for skid loader attachments?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah."
And I still don't have enough.
I think he does.
I need a stump grinder yet.
I think he's
so,
got one
yep.
of each.
Yep.
Whatever you can dream up.
You never know what you're going to need. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're right.
They all come in handy.
and you like to do it yourself.
So you started off, you said, small town of Newmarket, growing up.
yes,
Town kid, but got to play in agriculture.
did. My dad actually was the owner and operator of a grain and chemical elevator in Clarinda, Iowa.
Okay.
So I grew up helping him weekends, which made me realize that I needed to do something else other than go into agriculture.
Yeah.
But worked on farms quite a bit. I'm old enough, I put up little square bales, but I had one farmer in particular that liked the little round bales. So
Oh, yeah.
used to do that and help him with his hogs and pigs. And so, yes, I do have some agricultural background in my family. So
Yeah, at your party, I got to talk to River Bottom for a little while.
Yeah.
And he's doing those small round bales
He is.
right now. And he says it's a killer market
Yep.
because everybody has these John Deere compact loaders. You know, the lawnmower with the rototiller and the box blade and just a small loader,
Like my 112.
like your 112.
1025. Yeah. Mhm.
And you can pick those small round bales up and you get more hay than you do a square bale.
Well, acreage people pay more
Yeah.
than others do. They're not buying by the ton. They're buying by the bale for sure.
Yeah, that's probably, you guys were way ahead of your time back then.
it was fun, especially playing baseball in the summer too. So that was always fun. You put up hay all day and then go play baseball at night. And that was usually when I played my best, was after putting up hay, because I mean, every muscle in your body was loose and relaxed,
Yeah.
and you already were sweated out. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next day sucked, but
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
what position were you?
Played catcher.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah, you were
Wow.
really getting after it.
of course, with small school, of course, in Iowa, coming out of your 8th grade year, you could go out and for the high school team. So I was fortunate enough that at that time we had 2 senior pitchers and nobody could catch them. So the coach put me in there and said, "Here, see if you can catch them." And I could.
Yeah.
So thus the position was born for me throughout
Oh,
my whole
very
high
good.
school career. So
Yeah.
I even tried to make Cody a catcher too. So,
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit about that. So then your professional career, so did you get you're in telecommunications. Is that the
Yes.
way to say that?
Yes, correct.
But we don't use telephones anymore.
Yes.
Well, it's planting season for some, and others have corn popping up in rows. So I think it's time to start thinking about harvest.
Right. We got to think about harvest and what's going to go in front of that combine. Is it time to upgrade that corn head? Well, maybe. You should start thinking about a Maya corn head. Why, Tanner? Because Maya corn heads are awesome.
You can't say that.
I can say that. I can. They have a 3-year unlimited acre warranty. They got all the bells and whistles. If you ever have down corn, they run flatter, they run slower. They're just going to get that corn into the combine so it can do its job.
That's right. Check out mayacornheads.com or follow them on social media to learn more today.
It's transformed. Probably the most current term is a broadband communications provider.
Okay.
So everything we do is based on our broadband connection. But the company I work for, Farmers Mutual Telephone Company, otherwise known as FMTC, we're actually celebrating our 125th year this year in 2026. So we're ramping up for some celebrations. But yes, it originally was a telephone company. You know, back then in the rural areas, the larger, I still call them the bell companies, would not come to small rural America, especially here in rural Iowa. So FMTC got their start in 1901 and have been doing telephone service since the very beginning, which today we call our voice product. And then in the early 80s, we started our cable TV distribution network. And then in the late 80s, this phenomenon called the internet came around. So we started offering internet service, and then in the late 1980s, we actually was part owner into a cellular operation as well. So I call it the communications industry, and you know we're helping people communicate. You know, even our tagline we call we're your connection to the world, and we truly are through our services that we provide for people.
1901. I was just listening to one of my history podcasts talking about the hurricane that hit Galveston, Texas in 1900, and they were delivering messages of warning via telegraph.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that's how it started. It wasn't pick up the phone and get the operator.
Right.
It was telegraph.
It was. Yeah, it was interesting. In the town of Newmarket I grew up, I believe it was the last telephone exchange is a technical term. You know, exchange areas were determined by the in Iowa. So every company had a exchange area. So Newmarket was the last telephone exchange area that still had the old crank phones. So growing up, we actually had the party lines and the crank phones, and the operator still lived in the house downtown and was connecting all the calls. So as a boy, I had various jobs. I talked about haying, but before I was old enough to go hay, I mowed yards and delivered papers. Well, my afternoon paper route, I always made sure the last stop was at the telephone operator's house. So I would go in, deliver her paper, and then she would take her evening meal break, and she'd let me run the switchboard for her. And then the funnest part of it was I got to blow the 6 o'clock whistle, every night. So
Oh, yeah.
so little did I know, my career interest was being piqued at a young age. And even today, FMTC actually has retained ownership of that property. We put a new building next to it that has all of our data equipment in it, but that original house that the operators lived in, the original switchboard, still exists, and we have that as office facilities today. So
Those people, the operators, had to have known everything that was
they
going
did.
on in town.
Absolutely.
They're probably even more connected than those hair salon gals.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
That's true. I never even thought about that, but we've talked about how like everyone wanted to be up in everyone else's business. Like even the Sunday newspaper was reporting on who went to whose house for a meal and a birthday after church.
And a
Right.
good time was had by all.
But
Yeah.
but these ones were probably the ones leaking that information to the newspaper.
Yeah. The story my current board president tells. He was my high school science and chemistry teacher. So when he first came to Newmarket for the job interview, I think he was early. So he stopped at a house and wanted to know if he could use the phone to call the school to tell him that, he was here. And he walked in, and the lady said, "Yes, sure, here you go." And he walked over to this crank phone and said, had no idea how to operate this. So the lady goes, "Here, let me show you." So she rings the operator, and he says, "I'm looking for Superintendent Laverty. I'm here for an interview, but I just wanted to see if he was available. And he goes, well, I just seen him drive by, so he should be at the school shortly. Go ahead and go on in. So.
Didn't even have to connect him.
That's right.
Right by the front office.
Would the infrastructure still be there, like to like fire that up and make it work, or
No.
yeah,
No.
it's all gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was wondering that with cable. You said that in the 80s and 90s you took on a cable provider. I don't know if any of my friends have cable anymore.
I thought cable was for rich people when I grew up. It's like, you have cable TV?
Absolutely.
That was
It was a luxury when it
more than the antenna or the rabbit ears that you had.
Yeah, the giant dish, that big steel
Yeah.
black dish that sat out. You had to literally have a space in your yard for it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
A view of this coordinate to the southern sky to get your...
My grandparents had one. I remember that was a big day when we took that down.
Yeah.
Now you said broadband. When I think broadband, I think ISP, internet service providers. So is there a difference between an ISP and broadband?
Not really.
Okay.
No. There's a lot of terminology out there, but truly FMTC is an ISP.
Okay.
But to make it easier to understand when you combined everything else that we're doing, that's why we just call ourselves a broadband communications provider.
So a few years ago, back in 2020, the Trump administration at that time had passed a bill that we wanted more people in rural America to have access to the internet when we were all staying at home.
Correct.
Did that expand your business?
Not really, no. And the reason I say that is we were already built out with our fiber optics.
You were, okay.
So the key transformation that took place in our industry was installing and converting over to fiber optics as your delivery mechanism for your network. So we actually got started in 2010, starting to build out fiber optics. We have 5 local exchange areas where we're responsible for providing service to every house. Whether they want it or not, we had to build a network to connect to every house in those 5 exchange areas. So we started in 2010, actually was done by 2017. So every house and business within the 5 exchange areas that we are licensed to serve had fiber optics, underground fiber optics already available to them. So when 2020 hit and COVID and the announcement of that initiative really didn't pertain to small independent telephone companies like FMTC. So when I say small independent telephone companies, Iowa is very, very unique. There is more independent telephone companies in the state of Iowa than the rest of the country combined.
Whoa.
I believe that today there's close to 125 independent telephone companies like FMTC. And the reason for that, again, was when they got our start, the larger companies would not come out to these sparsely populated rural areas where you plow a mile of cable and you may pick up 1 customer, 2 if you're really lucky. So the independent telephone companies were in a position to really take advantage of the opportunities that we had. So most of us already had fiber in the ground. So that initiative that came out from the federal government was really for the areas that were being served by larger communication providers or larger ISPs or larger telephone companies, whatever name we want to choose to describe them. But there's still, even today, there's communities that still are not served with what I call fiber broadband services. And the key is fiber. And we can talk about a variety of different technologies here today, whether it be cellular, satellite, or whatever. But the key is it always comes back down to fiber, because in the end, they all end up dumping all of their data on fiber for it to be transported around the world. So.
Is there a rule? So when I think of utility companies, the Iowa Board of Utilities has certain areas that you can run your business. I was told with ISPs that or broadband services that you guys are not subject to the Iowa Board of Utilities, in that there's an area, like you could come into my area if you wanted it, even though there's no like, this is my area and that's your area. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. Thank you. That was the word I was trying to think of earlier. The Iowa Utilities Board is what established these traditional telephone exchange areas. So let me talk about telephone real quick. Those license exchange areas is still the rule is that you can only provide service, telephone service, in the areas where you're licensed by Iowa Utilities Board. Same way when we went into cable TV, you had to have a video franchise, either from your local community or in FMTC, we chose and received a statewide video franchise. So we could take our video services anywhere we wanted to. Broadband from the very beginning, or internet, was specifically kept deregulated. They wanted to keep that open. So you are absolutely correct. As an ISP, we can provide service anywhere we want to provide service, wherever we want to build out our.
So if I wanted to work with Farmers Mutual Telephone Company, I could.
Yes.
It just wouldn't make sense for you to run a line to my house.
Correct. Yeah. There's this little thing. It's probably pushing $40,000 a mile now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what, $15 a foot for buried?
My uncle worked for the state of Iowa and was in charge of making sure that when people hit fiber on construction projects, it was getting fixed properly and as quickly as possible. And all the construction projects, making sure because that's what he was in charge of, was fiber, was located appropriately. And he showed me pictures of what a cable looks like when it's cut through.
Yeah, it's not nice.
There's no way you could put that thing back together.
Yeah.
You can't just...
You say, that's funny looking tree roots.
Correct. You can't just put a butt connector together and, everybody's good to go.
Yeah.
But that's something that how I knew the state of Iowa was, up and up on making sure we were going to be connected, is how many thousands of miles, maybe it's millions of miles of cable.
It is. And it's a very important comment. In our operation, it's probably the most boring job that any of our technicians do is out locating cable. But I remind them that foundationally, it is the most important job they have to do, because they're protecting what we'd already invested and buried in the ground. Plus, in today's world, look how many businesses rely totally on that broadband connection being up and running all the time. So, but it does happen. But as everybody knows, there's an Iowa law that you call in before you dig, 811, in case everybody hadn't heard a commercial or didn't know the number. But it is important. But more importantly is that we show up and do accurate locates, and then make sure that we're helping the contractor that's doing the excavating do his job, but while protecting our fiber optics, but more importantly, protecting people that are actually using that and relying on that for even life-saving events. We provide some key connections even to area hospitals. And like everything right now that's moving into the cloud or server-based, the majority of their life-saving technology is dependent on that internet connection being in place. So there's a lot riding on us making sure that our service stays up and running all the time. So.
Yeah, but they still make you send faxes. That's HIPAA.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that kind of crazy?
To be the general manager and CEO, did you have to go to some special schooling for that? What's your education look like?
Well, my story is unique. No, I did not. I just have a high school education. So thought several different times, but I've been very blessed. When I first came out of high school, had opportunities to go on and play some sports in college, and chose not to. Went on a few recruiting trips and seen how those guys were just getting beat up. Decided, well, that's not for me. So I actually worked for a carpenter building new homes for 3 years. Was married, needed a job with benefits. At that time, the local telephone company, FMTC, was looking for a technician. The manager was getting ready to retire. So I took the job, had no idea what I was doing. So the first year was the old electromechanical step switches. So I spent the whole year working on those, wondering again, okay, just remember I'm here. I needed benefits. I needed a job. And then they bought their first digital switch. So they sent me to a switching school to learn how to program and operate a digital telephone switch. Fell in love with it, and was a technician for 11 years. And then the opportunity presented itself for me to step into a management role. So I've been very fortunate to be in the position I have and grow the company. When I first started, there was 4 employees, and now we're up to 41 employees. So.
Holy cow. And how big of an area, roughly?
It's basically about almost 4 complete counties. So we're in southwest Iowa, Montgomery, Page, Taylor, and Adams County. And within those 4 counties, we have 5 licensed exchange areas, and now we're branching out into adjacent communities.
So you're still expanding.
Still expanding. Even today, we're overbuilding the town of Corning with 100% with underground fiber optics. So.
And what makes it so you do that rather than somebody else coming in and getting that territory? Is it just a bidding process, or
no? And again, we're going in with the broadband connection, so we can go to any community that we want to, but there's still a business case. You know,
Right.
You want to choose an area where people will take your service and subscribe to it, because that's the only way the business model works.
Has VoIP changed your broadband telephone service?
A what?
VoIP, voice over IP.
Voice over Internet Protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it has. We've been offering that for probably 12 years now. So we still have our traditional voice services, but as more and more people shut off their landline, traditional landline phone, and move more to cellular, especially our businesses are using the voice over IP.
They are.
So we've hosted we've offered what we call a hosted PBX service, which is VoIP for businesses for many, many years. So yeah, we.
I think that would make them expand into like Corning. You know, if the use case is there, then get, what'd you say, 40,000 a mile worth of fiber there.
Yeah, so we're probably pushing close to 3,000 VoIP customers today.
Wow.
So, and we can offer that service anywhere. So, that particular one, you'd still be reliant upon your local provider here in your studio. But say if you wanted FMTC VoIP services, we could provide that to you here, because they can be offered anywhere around the world. So.
Nice. I had a flashback thought of the Farm4Profit LLC at gmail.com, which is now connect@gmail.com, is kind of like the old scale operators. We get messages all the time of wanting to be connected to previous guests on the podcast or other content creators. And sometimes I feel like that when I just forward the email on to somebody else of, hey, if you want to talk to Tim at Onshore, send it over to him. And I'm just the old operator that takes it, plugs it from this one into the school's plug.
Yeah.
Modern day.
You bring up a good point, though, of like, could I have internet here from you or VoIP? Yes, you can. You guys are just getting the fiber there. Where does it come from? Like, is there just, where does the internet?
Where does the internet?
Yeah, where does the internet come from? Are you just like you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, there's.
I don't know how to
You don't
ask
have
the
a
question,
giant
right?
power plant.
Yeah,
that
if
then
you're-
puts it into transmission lines.
I
that
know
then
if I
puts it
drill an
in-
oil well, the oil's coming from underneath me. Where is the internet coming from?
Yeah, so there's different levels of ISPs. So you got your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and FMTC would probably be considered more of a tier 3, tier 4, otherwise called a last mile provider
So-
to the home.
You're still a customer of someone else
Absolutely
providing
correct.
you.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
So more to the Iowa story, in the late 1980s, again, where the focus of the business was on voice services. And at the time, who was your long distance carrier was a big item.
Yeah.
And in Iowa, you did not have a choice until the independents banded together and created a company called Iowa Network Services. Now, they've changed their name. Today it's called Arion. And in the late 1980s, they formed this entity, and they buried fiber optics across the state of Iowa, from the north border to the south and from the east to the west. And then they connected all the independent telephone companies together to their centralized switching facility in Des Moines. So we actually was able to have our choice of long-distance carriers, because all the carriers came to Des Moines, and then that's where we interface with the independents. Arion is actually our tier 2 internet provider. So FMTC buys connectivity from them, and then they buy connectivity to the tier 1 providers, which is your larger companies that have the cables across the world, across the country, under the ocean, around the world. There's a network that's
There's
connected.
cables in the ocean.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Large ones.
You always hear like Someone just starts dragging an anchor to cut cables or whatever. It's like a war thing.
Huh, I had not heard
Yeah,
that.
there's a significant amount of cables laying on the ocean floor, going from continent to continent. So
I guess I don't ever think I've thought about how it gets from A to B.
Still, where does it come from?
Yeah.
We got to tier 1. Who is making it?
Who's tier one?
well,
Who makes the
our business is connecting people. What makes the internet work is just a collection of different internet servers, that are online and providing content, giving you an address to go to with that connectivity to pull the content that you're looking for. So
Yeah. I just can't imagine. You said it was like late 80s when the internet?
that's when FMTC got into it. The internet was around, oh boy, you're testing my history now. I believe it was a military function at the time. I think they were looking for ways to communicate with each other. And I think it even started with a few colleges as well, too, where they were looking to connect with each other to share information and communicate. So
The old Google machine said the internet did not start overnight, but evolved over several decades. Started in the 60s by ARPANET, which was the U.S. Department of Defense, like he was talking about. Most historians say 1983 as the birthday of the internet.
Yeah.
It's almost as old as Dave.
It's Leanne Rye. I was going to
Yeah.
say it's damn near
It's,
as old as-
So this is an old joke, but you got to say, at the time when it first became more publicly known, no, Vice President Al Gore did not.
I was going to
invent
say
the
it was
internet.
Al Gore. He invented the internet.
The
Can
old,
you imagine
the old
though, that?
dial-up sounds playing in my head right now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Can you imagine that the government actually had this for like? How did they ever let it out? Right? Because
Yeah.
what an advantage that would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were the only ones that had it.
One of the things that Dave is introduced us to and has kind of made part of podcasting feasible in some areas where we weren't able to do it in the past is
VoIP.
his old Starlink that he mashes on the roof of his pickup
Absolutely.
for his auctions because for you it was a necessity.
Yeah. Being in the middle of nowhere doing an auction, we didn't have good cell phone signal to be able to do it. And most places that we were doing an auction on the farm did not have internet that was available. So, yeah, Starlink kind of changed that. And now look forward to like agriculture equipment. I think the new combines are coming out with Starlink built into the top of them, aren't they, Corey?
Yeah. Yeah.
How has that changed your world? Now we're going to be connected to satellite, and I hear there's more satellites going up. Is one better than the other for any reason?
Each of them has their role. I call it, and have been calling it for 20 years, there's a convergence of technologies going on to benefit the consumer. And it all depends on what you need and where you need it and how you want to use it. So Starlink definitely has its place. There's areas where you just absolutely cannot get fiber optics to or cable. The cellular towers don't have enough range, especially as you increase in technology with cellular, where they call it 5G, or even now they're talking about 6G. The more bandwidth you take, the less coverage they have with their existing towers. So they're going to have to continue to put up more towers to keep the coverage that we expect today, even with cellular. So satellite definitely has its role to reach those hard areas where there's no other type of service available. So it definitely has its place. They're working to improve the bandwidth capabilities. The challenge I see that Starlink and other satellite providers will always have is latency. So it just depends on what you're using it for. How quick of a response are you needing that connection to provide to you based on what you're doing, especially when you get into automation. And then cellular has its role too. It gives you probably greater mobility, as far as your farm equipment. But where fiber comes in is all of those technologies eventually end up putting all their data on a fiber optic cable to be transported to where it needs to do. So we're like the paved road, the farm to market road. You can have gravel roads, you can have dirt roads, but everybody likes to get on the paved road, the wide road. So it's always there regardless of what technology comes down the road, whatever the size of the equipment is that needs to use that road. fiber optics is always the one that's going to be around to handle the heavy lifting in our industry to transport the data and keep people connected. So
I was going to compare it to the rivers, to the water for us and commodities. It seems like in our area, if it's not going to be used locally, it's got to get put on rail to get to a port, or it's got to go down a river on a barge to get to port and be exported. But I liked your comparison a lot better, because sometimes those water levels can be low, and it's really frustrating because you can't put as much on a barge as you would have in normal circumstances. But is that an issue today? We're sending information back and forth. I mean, I sat here 2 hours ago and tried to make a ChatGPT image of Corey and his dad doing a Hagee testimonial, and it made Corey look older than his dad. So I had to do it again. I had to do it again. And I know there's people that are out there sending stuff back and forth like me over and over and over now more than we used to.
Yes, that's the constant challenge we have, is keeping up with technology. Fiber is not the limitation. It's the electronics you put on the end. So fiber is just a glass tube where you send a light wave down it. So the electronics at the end is what generates that light wave. So as they continue to make improvements with technology, then what we call our bandwidth continues to improve. And that's the biggest challenge we have, is staying up with the demand of our consumers to have enough bandwidth available for them, so that they can get on the internet, do the things that you just described, and get as quick a response as possible.
How important is throughput going to be? So when I think throughput, a lot of the whole world downloads stuff. We consume.
Yes.
90% of the world is probably consumers. They don't create stuff and put it back out to the rest of the world like we do in the podcast. We're uploading.
Yes.
Yeah, we're the opposites.
Uploading content, uploading where most people consume it. I think we're seeing a trend where more people are uploading stuff or sending out. Or do we need more throughput?
Throughput is always going to be incredibly important, whether you're downloading or uploading. But you're absolutely correct. Early on in the internet, most people were downloading. So my analogy is what FMTC provides is symmetrical speeds. Not every company provides symmetrical speeds. You'll see where their download speed is greater than their upload speed, because they're trying to manage their bandwidth subscriptions that they're buying from other.
That's my only problem with Starlink. I can get 300 down, but I can only get 15
right.
out.
So I compare it to like the interstate highway. The speed limit's the same no matter which direction you're driving. Thus should be your access to the internet. Whether you're uploading or downloading, it should be the same speed. And that's what FMTC provides, is symmetrical speeds.
Got it.
It's just because of gravity, Dave. You get it from space.
Really
It comes a lot
quick.
faster,
Yeah.
and you
Falls.
send it back up there.
Yeah.
It's still pretty impressive when you think that even my live auctions, I say sold. It takes about a second and a half to go through my computer, through a cable, to Starlink, through the router, through that cable, send it to the out of this world, and then come back to your computer at home through his fiber and show up on their computer all in a millisecond.
Yes.
It's just nuts.
Yeah, and there's even more pressure to make that even faster, especially as you move into automation. So.
I believe that, but I feel like the headline that you read is, we're going to soon run out of electrical capacity, right? We're not going to make enough electricity. We're going to, the conversations in Iowa is clean water. We're going to run out of clean water. Like, I drive on a lot of roads that are not very smooth anymore because we're running out of quality infrastructure. Right. Is that the same for broadband? Is there the same types of concerns?
Possibly. The way I view it is I talked about FMTC's 125-year history. To me, we have a history of building infrastructure. We started with the telephone infrastructure, then we added the video infrastructure, then the cellular infrastructure, and then the broadband internet infrastructure. The next big thing for us is what I call the AI computing infrastructure. So it's doing a convergence of everything, cellular, satellite, and fiber, to provide that throughput and that connection to everybody, but giving everybody access to that computing power. So I know you read all the time in the headlines, the news about the large data centers that are going on. being built around the country, and they are a concern because of the demand they're putting on our resources. I heard a statistic last week that with the demand for compute power today, if we started building data centers, it would take us 15 years to build enough data centers just to catch up with the demand we're putting out there today. So then the concern is, okay, where are all these data centers going to go? I think the large data centers will have their role. They don't belong here in rural Iowa. There's a different way of doing it, and that's what FMTC is looking at doing. We're exploring a similar approach to what happened 125 years ago, when the larger companies would not come to rural Iowa. So we're looking at what's called a distributed micro data center, and it's literally the size of a storage pod, and it's all self-contained. It takes less water than your swimming pool. You fill it up with water, and then it just keeps recirculating to cool the GPU computing chips. And then it can use a variety of different sources of power, but the one that we're looking at the most is a natural gas powered generator. So we're not even putting demand on the electrical grid. We would have it as a backup in case the generator would shut down. But because of this distributed network, you keep them smaller in size, so it really isn't a whole lot different than somebody putting up a new factory in town or a new business in town, the demands that it's putting on the local infrastructure. But that will always be a concern, especially across the country. It's always been a concern, the status of our electrical grid for many, many years.
It's important to get in and get the crop out and not leave it behind. And that's what we've achieved with the Estes concave. I spend anywhere from 800 to 900 hours a year in a combine. With these concaves, we've picked up productivity. A 200-acre day used to be a great day, and now we see 270, 280. These are a game changer. If you want a machine that's going to put out clean grain every day, all day, it's a night and day difference, and anybody that doesn't have them should get them.
Boy, the old data center word is a concern for our audience. It doesn't matter what producer you are, the fear of competing against where a data center can go based upon access to land, access to resources.
Yes.
That's all we have as farmers is
Absolutely
our
correct.
natural resources.
That's why I like the distributed micro data center concept, because it requires, even a lot in town, no different than you would put a house on. So
How many people would that serve the whole community or just a couple houses?
it served the whole community. In fact, what we're considering is actually you put it online, and now the whole world is your customer, not just locals.
So you could actually, if you own the ground and put that on there, you could actually make some money with it.
You provide the computing power to
Just like solar
everybody.
panels.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
You get it to
providing
Bitcoin.
solar to the rest of my community right now, or energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just don't
so
get
we
paid
would-
very well for it.
No, I don't.
What's the load? What's the load capacity our roof has? Could we put a couple of them up top?
Pretty good. This is an old Casey's building. It's got it's steel. Yeah, you could put some.
We
stuff
should
up
just
there.
line the roof with those. That would quiet the rain down.
So what's the argument for data centers that farmers, our audience, doesn't like? Is it the water? Because I think they've changed that to closed loop mostly. They were taking a lot of demand. I think they've kind of solved that problem. The energy grab, which they're only putting them near where their substations, because they don't want to spend the bill for more than that, which is the same as solar or wind energy. But I felt like wind energy came to Iowa, like everybody, yeah. Not everybody, but everybody's fine with that. And some guys have been okay with solar, but data centers been like, hell no.
I think it's similar with solar and wind, but data center is just the new thing to talk about.
It's land.
Yeah.
It's land. It's the same thing of when you hear opposition to 4,000 acres of solar panels. That's 4,000 acres taken out of production, whether it's cattle ranch, row crop.
And we've beat it into their heads that you're not making any more of it.
But if we took it out of production, wouldn't that raise the price of our corn if we had less made?
Potentially, or give Brazil just the opportunity to make more, and
Yeah.
compete with us. I mean, the other thing is if you go listen to Rush Hour, What they would talk about is the economic impact locally, right? So take what Zach Lane talks about over in Cedar Rapids. Don't quote me on the numbers here, but they gave like $500 million in tax cuts,
Yep.
tax breaks for this data center to come to make 9 jobs, right? Yeah, sure, there's probably hundreds of jobs to build that data center, but like 9 full-time jobs after, and that, so they just gave $500 million that's going to be shipped off basically to a company outside of the state that owns it.
See, I wondered if it didn't strengthen farmers. So let's say your family, Corey, that a data center came near Polk City and said, we want to build this. And they give you all of a sudden $100,000 an acre and you end up with $16 million or something like that. What are you going to do with that money? I just bet you, you're probably going to buy more farms. You're probably going to expand your farm operation, get better equipment, make better technology.
Right.
I mean decisions.
That's a theory, because you're not wrong. It generated wealth for one family. But if he has to go buy farm ground,
Yep.
he's might have to buy a piece of farm ground from my landlord, which took those acres away from me on my farm. And yes, it's still being farmed, still generating an agricultural product, but it's helping the wealth of Corey's family now, and it just took 80 acres off of my family's cash flow.
Yeah, you'd hope it still remains locally owned and that money gets recycled through the community. But I have been on the opposite end of not a data center, but people selling for a lot of money for development. And I can't blame those people one bit. It's a great business move. They're what we'd call farming for fun, and they are now a real estate entity. But it is an unfair advantage of they're going to pay whatever to get that ground because they have a tax liability that they have to take care of. And so when I'm just on the fringes of that, this just drives land up, because they have to have it because they don't want to pay Uncle Sam. I don't blame them. So I don't know what's right, because dang, I'd sure love to have that $100,000 an acre ground and be able to get that money.
I mean, I've had guys from Wisconsin say they want to move to Iowa and move the money to Iowa because they sold something in Wisconsin, and they are strategically trying to buy acres locally. And then guess what? They're actually going to rent it out. They want to empower local farmers to rent that ground out.
Yeah.
Because what is the statistic, Dave, of land that is owned by non-operators?
Oh man, you'd have to ask. I shouldn't comment because I don't remember.
I'll look it up while we chat.
I thought it was more than 70%.
And if we want to think about farming as this legacy that we're creating and this family wealth or heirloom, sure, the land that we're on right now is very sentimental, but wouldn't $100,000 an acre just set your family up for generations? Or do you think,
it very well
instead
could.
of struggling at what we're at now?
According to the Google machine, it's a 60-40 split.
Yep.
60% is owned by a landlord, farmed by a tenant. 40% is owned by those who farm it themselves. So in that instance,
and ever so decreasing. Yeah.
60% of the time, it may not affect that farmer at all because they would have an equal right to get to farm it from the new landlord that came in and invested in your state. But I know that's a very push-button topic for a lot of our listeners and a lot of our followers online, because all we had to have was one of us to comment on a post as to what an acre of land is worth if a data center wants to come to your area versus what it's worth if it doesn't. Right. And we don't want that to be misconstrued as support.
Right.
Yeah.
We're here to explore all facts.
Yeah. What FMTC is looking at doing would not negatively affect the agriculture industry at all from a land perspective. These distributed micro data centers do not need large parcels of land. You could literally put it on a corner lot in a community. Now, if you want to grow that particular micro data center, then it requires more storage pods. But it's literally the size of a storage pod. So we do not want to change the communities. We do not want to change the rural agriculture. What we want to do is bring that computing power closer to the source of the data, so that farmers have access to that type of AI computing infrastructure that will be there to support your technology that you're using, and more importantly, support your business decisions that you're trying to make, because we're generating, so much data off the farms, and even in everyday life, we're generating so much data. So how do we get aware of that? How do we protect that? And then how do we utilize that to improve our businesses and profitability as well too?
Yeah, I put this into the same category of conversations that we've had. We've interviewed a gentleman that saved his family ranch by having wind tower farm put on his I think it was a Kansas or Oklahoma ranch.
Yeah.
We've had folks that talked about how solar's been great to their livestock operation for alternative energy. We've had ideas of, well, why don't we put solar on the top of skyscrapers and all these parking garages and everything in a city where, it's not going to affect growable ground.
Yeah.
But that's one of these situations of, okay, could we use this? We were talking about probably 5 years ago on this podcast, repurposing old hog confinements into fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
You'd take one of those pits, fill it up with water, and then just fill that old barn with micro data centers.
You're farming data.
Absolutely.
We might have to do that when you go to do your next barn remodel. Maybe we talk to
That sounds
FMTC.
like I'd make more than pigs.
Yeah, I had an analogy, and it's interesting. You have the little grain bin on your desk here. So, what role does FMTC play in it? Because I have a major concern with farmers and how they're protecting themselves and protecting the data that they're generating. I'm not sure how you monetize that yet, but my theory is with FMTC being your trusted provider, connecting your farm up to the rest of the world and providing this type of computing infrastructure, can you harvest your own data, store it in our locally controlled data center, of which then you have the keys, and you decide who you want to sell access to that data to or not. So it's like storing your grain, and then you decide when the market is right what price you're going to get for it and who you're going to sell it to.
Didn't we do that with personal computers though? And like I think back, everything had its own hard drive,
Yes.
right? And we all started with a, whatever. It was like 512 megabytes was a lot back in a 486 computer, and then we went bigger, and until we got to 3 or 4 terabytes, and then it was like, you know what? We don't need this because we're storing it all in the cloud. So I guess you'd be a cloud option, but a cloud option that's there, but we need it to go out so that we only need a couple things: a power source, a way to process it, and a monitor to monitor it, and keyboard to keystroke in. We don't really need the hard drive space
Correct.
with us anymore.
Correct.
We need it. We probably should have started as a society with cloud-based computers, not we tried to give everybody their own PC, personal computer, and then we just had to upgrade, and then we lost all our data. I think if we stored it, other than the security reasons, if we stored it all together, we'd be better.
Yeah, and that's kind of the concept that we're pursuing with this locally controlled AI infrastructure. Again, we can call it whatever we want, but it is a a distributed micro data center network is what we're looking to put in place.
Whether it's going in that or a big data center, I'm assuming it's the same concept,
Right.
same material. How long is that material good for? Because we know how long these computers last,
Right.
or your TV. Like
Any electronics, you have backups upon backups, and then this network of micro data centers, you're moving that data around. So if something would happen with that particular electronic device,
I don't
you've
know
got
how
a
many of
backup
them we
somewhere
want in
else.
your area for the amount of tornadoes and storms that you guys get.
Yeah.
I feel like we talk about Creston all the time
Yeah.
being a freaking magnet for.
it certainly would be a spread of risk.
Well, that's the reason you don't want to rely on the large data centers. I mean, it doesn't take long to figure out just the recent war. What was the first thing that they targeted? Was the massive data center.
I had written down terror.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
And that's something farmers are worried about. You hit the nail on the head. We're all concerned about what subscription we have and where our data is going.
Absolutely.
And we've selected some partners
should be.
on Farm4Profit because of that. Like
Yes.
we've done a couple interviews with techsupport.farm on how you can protect yourself and create little gateways and be able to monitor and keep
Correct.
that. The reason we work with onshore is because they literally keep your data onshore rather than it going.
Correct.
It's been top of mind for Farm4Profit.
Yeah. And that's why I feel it's time for FMTC to get into it, because we are the trusted source with our farming community. and they want access to it. It's a hard concept to understand, but so you want to deal with somebody that you can trust, that will, to the best of their ability, always protect that data. But in this day and age, anytime you're online, there's always at risk of. The amount of effort we put into blocking all these security issues constantly is enormous. So.
Is it going to cause easement issues? So if you put a bunch of little ones, I think like a bunch of little wind turbines instead of one ginormous wind turbine, and then we have to have easements that go from this one to this one to this one. Even the carbon pipeline, we have an issue with farmers like we're not even putting it on your property. We just want to run through it.
Yeah, no.
So is there fiber that runs from one micro data center to another micro data center to another one?
There will be, but it's already the fiber we have in place.
It's already the fiber we have
in the
place.
in the public right away.
Got it.
So can we pop one in the driveway here right now?
Sure could.
We only
you
need
guys-
like 3 parking spots. The
Yeah.
rest of the parking lot is
You
yours.
guys could provide that right now, or is it a future thing?
Give me a year.
All right,
it
put
would
us at
be
the top of your
available.
list.
And
Now-
would that be something you provide, or like, I'm assuming you'd probably work with a provider of these?
Yeah. The key is what you're using locally, and then when you're not using that computing power, you make it available to the rest of the world. So that's where the revenue comes in. That's why the whole world is now your potential subscriber, because you're selling off excess computing power.
Yeah.
Not data, not storage. It's actually computing power, which is all being driven by the AI model that really is just now getting a grasp. People are really starting
Would
to get
that
into
need
this.
to be? Would that be us talking to you, or would you have to talk to like our local provider here, is Huxcom?
They have to.
I would have to get a local. Obviously, FMTC is not going to bury fiber optics all the way up to here.
Right.
So we would need to work with whoever your local provider is and see what their capabilities are. Number one, do they have fiber optics? What kind of speeds? Because you're looking at a minimum of 100 gigabit connection just for a 1 milliwatt data center of computing power.
My experience is they'll just want to take all the
That's
profits.
what I was thinking with the
What
solar.
because same thing with solar. Do they net meter or not?
Yeah,
and
correct.
even if they do, it's not worth the cost
The
of a
beauty
unit
of this
energy.
model is now we're in control of that revenue.
You just said
then
something.
We follow our same methodology, how we're going to regenerate that revenue back into the communities that we serve.
Said something interesting. You said it's not storage. I wonder how many people think data centers are storage, or how many people think they're computing power.
Before this conversation, I thought that's just where all of our old episodes were hanging out.
It's a combination of both. Historically, when you said data centers, thus the word, they were storing
Data.
tons of data. Now it's turning more into computing power. So there will be part of it that is for storage.
So can I save my data on a cheaper data center? So I don't want to save it with Dropbox, but I'm going to go to one of your micro centers that's on Corey's farm. Can each person demand how much they want for me to store my data on their servers?
Yes, there will be subscription models. If you wanted X amount
coming.
set aside for your data storage, you'd be able to buy
Just
that.
think about it. It'll be organic data.
Yes.
It has low carbon.
you were
Zero
reading-
carbon.
You were reading my paper.
Yeah, zero carbon because it's on my farm and I offset it by carbon credits and
These guys
40,000.
know I've wanted a hot tub forever.
It's still
my
got to be
gosh.
connected though.
We're going to have 2 of these in the parking lot, and between it, we're going to warm the water with the data center and have our jacuzzi tub.
There you go.
And the methane it's not going to be natural gas. It's going to be methane from my hog manure that we harvested. It's just going to be great. It's going to be organic and granola. It's perfect.
We're going to burn corn or ethanol. It'll have a net carbon footprint.
Yeah. Man, it's cool. Why not space?
I thought they were talking about it already.
Well, I'm
Launching data centers into space.
shoot them up there.
You still have a latency problem. They're
You
even
can put a fiber at the bottom of the ocean, but you can't have a data center on a balloon.
You can't dangle the fiber down.
how are you going to tether it? You're going to tether it with a fiber optic cable.
You know?
Yes.
We
Line
say
of
that
kite.
now, but like 20 years ago, we would have never thought.
Right.
So like the technology's coming fast.
Well, they're even experimenting now with data centers in the ocean,
Okay.
where they actually put them out, tether them with a cable to the underground cables in the ocean, and then using the ocean water to cool it. So there's that going on.
That's fine until you get an El Nino.
El Nino or La Nina. Oh yeah, that'll just screw
I was
everything.
going to
Ocean
say the
water
whale
warms
people
up.
would hate that.
Yeah.
What if they got shocked? What if they?
It's light. It's not electricity.
The weather is very much determined though on the currents and temperature of the
Yes.
ocean.
Yeah.
In your area, what have you been seeing from the farmers? Is there a lot more demand now because of
Oh,
what
absolutely.
agriculture's become?
Oh, absolutely. Variety of different things. Even the simplest things of just their internet in their house and what they need to do to stay connected to the world, to remotely monitoring their operations, whether it be their cow-calf operations and when they're calving. It was interesting. It was this winter I was having lunch with one of our farmers, and he asked him how things was going, and he pulls up his camera, and he can monitor exactly which cow just had a calf and how it's doing, and so things like that, monitoring their remote buildings or remote locations. I really would like to see us get more into precision agriculture. Even at a federal level, there is millions of dollars being set aside for development of precision agriculture. And what I've been told, and you guys know better than I, is the importance of agriculture in feeding the world. And as we grow in population and even somewhat of a shrinking ag land, how are we going to be able to continue to feed the world? And people are starting to live longer either. So there was an initiative put together. It was actually at the federal level a precision ag committee that's looking at how do we develop different technologies to help farmers produce more. Well, that sounds good, but what comes back to my board, because most of them are farmers as well, is like, that sounds good, but how is that going to create more money for me, more revenue? Because you're asking me to invest in all this technology, all these monthly subscriptions, but has it really added to the price of the commodity that I sell when I harvest this?
No. But
And if the answer is no, then why? Why are we doing it?
Yeah,
So that's what I want to help figure out.
that's the argument, is we all like to talk about feeding the world and all
Yeah.
that, but at the end of the day, if the farmer's not profitable,
That's right.
they can't grow nothing.
If you're
Gotta
not
feed your
take
family first.
if you're not take care of him, then you're just adding cost to his operation.
And
So-
and you're right. And the technology has. Look at the yield of corn and soybeans and wheat over the last 50 years. It's just bottom left to top right. That's just what it is. And all this technology and seed and chemistry and agronomy has done that, and we just outproduce ourselves. We're really good at growing, and which goes back to
Absolutely correct.
what's the matter if we lose some more farmland? Because we just grow the crap out of it. But what do you got?
I was just going to pull up a graphic. I'm just messing around over here. Here's your bottom left, top right.
Yep. Yeah,
Exactly.
historically, corn yields.
I don't know how to do it, but I'd love to put the farmer in a position where he had more control over his commodity, which would drive up the value.
Yeah.
It's easy to say. I'm not sure how you do that.
It's why he's the CEO of a real telco. Is that insulting to call
No.
it a telco?
No.
'Cause that's that
Can I still get a landline?
Yes.
could be a
Absolutely.
VoIP,
We need a little phone here.
So my
red
my,
phone.
Farm4Profit Hotline.
a red
my
phone,
landline
correct?
commercial, if you needed an emergency, it's still the only communication device that will truly give you 911 services and tell you exactly where you are.
Really?
I
Absolutely.
didn't think about that.
I got a buddy that.
What
has
about a sat phone?
Power goes off, your landline phone still works.
There's some lines up north of here that run supposedly like direct to the White House, like that run through, I don't know what, State Center area or something like that. Like, guy that I talked to said under this farm there's a line that goes from one coast to the other or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's just all hoopla, but
Yeah.
yeah.
How many? I'm thinking over to Boone, and they're making that dairy center over there.
Yeah.
How many acres does that take?
I don't know how much
Dairy?
they've set aside.
The sour cream plant, Daisy,
Yeah,
Daisy,
Daisy.
A lot. I think just their campus is over 100.
Yeah, hoofta.
And then think of all the support that all the milk and everything and that
It,
kind of
it
stuff.
makes me wonder. I don't know the number, but how many acres will data centers take versus how many acres will every other type of business take?
Right.
62 acres
And
is
is-
what it says.
Is one higher than the other? Because nobody gave resistance to the daisy plant.
Well, yeah, that's
There was
agriculture.
there was a lot of resistance to that as
Was
well.
there?
Everybody thought it was going to stink because what happens to
Oh.
rotten milk?
Mm.
Nobody wants it in their backyard. Everybody wants it, but nobody wants it in their backyard.
Right.
Nobody wants it here.
That's why we need data centers in like Phoenix, Arizona. Like nobody lives there.
But you talk.
It's just desert. It's not good ground that we're taking away.
Now you're back to the solar panels in cities theory, right?
Yep.
Not in my house, but I want them to happen. You talked about your customer watching his cows calve. Cody.
Yeah, you want the tech,
who
but then you got to
connected
live
us.
with the infrastructure for the
Same
tech.
thing.
Right.
He's watching. Rachel's watching. Dave's got it hooked up
Yep.
at his acreage. But I want to go back now that we're an hour into this. I want to know if little Cody was as ugly as he is as big Cody.
Did he have a
You know,
mustache when he
his
was little?
looks really hasn't changed the same other than his mustache. He
Yeah.
grew a mustache, but no, Cody was an excellent kid. So I will brag on him.
You got to coach him.
I got to coach him through youth baseball. He's a year older than my son, in a small school in Stanton. But between those two classes, my goodness, it was male driven. I think combined both classes that one year in flag football, I had like 42 kids out on the team.
Wow.
So they were very athletic, very competitive, but good kids. But so I got the opportunity to try and guide them in the right direction. Culminated with them winning a state football championship Cody's senior year. And then we came back the next year and got beat in the semifinals. So it was a pretty athletic class. So it was a lot of fun. So
Now he can't even drive a go-kart without getting hurt.
So there's no girls in Southwest Iowa. That's why he's still single.
in those two classes, they're I think even in Alex's class, they have 5 girls total in
Wow.
that class. So
I graduated with 31, and we had 7
What's in the water down there?
girls.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chromosomes.
Anything else you want to cover in today's conversation? I didn't know fully what direction it was going to go, and you've enlightened us a lot.
Well, thank you. It's an exciting industry to be in. I've been blessed to have this as an opportunity for my career. But under it all, it's really about treating people right, doing the right thing, and serving people. So, that's always been a passion of mine. And as I lead this company, it's all about taking care of the people with the responsibilities that we have to help put them in a better position so that they can maintain or even improve their livelihoods, either personally or through business. So obviously the ag community is an important part of our lives in Iowa, especially in Southwest Iowa. So it's people that I call friends and neighbors. So how can I help them do what they need to do, which is one of the most important jobs, is raising a commodity to help feed the world. So
I got one left.
I got one too. Go for it.
It sounds like the foundation is fiber,
mhm,
right? Everything
absolutely.
you've talked about,
Absolutely.
doesn't matter what technology comes, it's fiber. Is there something or technology that you think would ever replace fiber?
Oh, great question. I shouldn't say no. Right now, I don't
You
know
don't see
what
it,
that
yeah.
would is. I don't see it, but look at how many things have changed just in the past decade.
Yeah.
So who knows what
A
might
tape
come up.
deck. We don't have any.
So growing up, I was a big
CD.
fan of the Jetsons cartoon and
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek. So
Where's our flying cars?
It's ironic that we're seeing more and more of this become reality all the time.
You kind of had. I was going to ask him if he could bring back any of the tech over his 30-year career. What was his favorite that he wished he still had to use?
Oh,
I got mine.
What's yours?
I want Nextel. Push to talk.
oh yeah,
Do we want
Dave,
quick
what are you
water?
doing over there?
yeah,
Yes. Done.
yeah.
That's the first stock I ever bought.
Probably
Terrible decision.
The first thing that
Terrible decision.
Yeah, first thing that came to my mind was when we were running the old copper-based telephone network. So I was a technician, so you're always out troubleshooting that in all the pedestals. So when you start at the house, and if the problem was at the house, then you went halfway from the house to the central office in town and test it there. Well, the device that you tested with was called a butt set. So what you literally do is this.
Should I Google this?
Yeah. So you literally, it's a little device with clips on it that you can put into monitor mode, and you clip onto the copper wires, and you can pull dial tone, or you can see if the connection is actually getting good there. So I spent many hours using what's in the industry called a butt set. There it is, right there.
Oh, I've seen those.
Go
It
back.
is,
yeah.
Go
it is
back.
not what you. I don't know if I want to go back.
back.
What did you see?
Batinsky.
Oh, the lineman's handset, also called a Batinsky.
Yeah,
Corey's
butt
new,
in.
Corey's
You're
new
butting in on the conversation. Why they call it the butt set.
Batinsky.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
I like
Sounds
that.
like something Cody would find at our friend Mike and Mariah's.
Yeah. One day in particular, I was troubleshooting a copper line and got halfway, and I don't know, thinking I was getting narrowed down between PEDs, only to find out that my butt set was not working right. So having been a former baseball player, yeah,
You chucked your.
I chucked my butt set off the side of my truck from a significant distance, just so I would never use that one again.
Have you ever seen a Batinsky fly?
Here comes the Batinsky throw.
There you go. Well done.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if we were going to approach this conversation and it be the route of the local telephone companies are dying.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it.
No.
Sounds like they could be a vital piece of the future.
It's actually where I was blessed. I understand the importance of politics. I don't like being involved with it. But for years, early on in my career, I heard where there's so many independents in Iowa, why don't you guys just all merge together? You know, it has to be better if you would become a bigger company. But we held on. And right now, these independents is Iowa's biggest asset when it comes to broadband connectivity, because we all care about our customers and our communities, and most of us already have the fiber optics done, and we're in a position to keep up with the latest technology to keep people connected to the world, where the larger companies don't move as fast as we do, and they don't necessarily make the rural areas a high priority with their investment dollars to keep the network current.
Yeah.
So.
Cody texted Tanner and I and said he has 1 gigabyte internet at his house.
Absolutely.
And the farm has had fiber for probably 10 years. And we only have 33 megabytes per second here, is what he said.
Yeah.
Which is probably just because Tanner didn't pay for anything more than that.
Yeah.
But let's
Probably
be
because
honest.
he's Wi-Fi and he's not wired.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the process now of upgrading our electronics, so we'll be able to offer 10 gigabits connections here with it by the end of the year.
Wow.
Symmetrical. But you make a good point with Wi-Fi. The biggest challenge we have with our consumers is they see us advertising 1 gig and up to 10 gig, and then they'll do a speed test. It's like, well, that's not what I'm receiving. Well, the weakest thing in the network is the consumer's device, because most of them are trying to hook an old piece of electronics up to this network that we have a lot of horsepower on, and they don't even have the computing power to even process it at that speed. So the consumer staying current with electronics is just as important as us staying current with ours as well too.
Just bought a new router yesterday, waiting for it to show up.
There you go.
Way
Probably has
faster.
spyware on it
Spyware.
from the factory.
Don't buy it from Amazon. They're known for having,
Kevin, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for making it a priority to come to the studio.
I've enjoyed it tremendously. Thank you for the opportunity. So,
Appreciate you putting up with Cody for as long as you have.
well, love it. So,
Yeah, we get to share our problem with multiple people.
yeah, well, you have to come down some night. We
It's like picking on-
occasionally we find ourselves sitting in a Gibbs Chop House, sharing a drink and a meal, and just talking about what his week was like and what we're up to. And
Don't tempt me with a good time.
He knew all of us before he got here because of Cody.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
All
Yeah.
the complaining we had. It's kind of fun, right? This is usually we make fun of Rachel when she's off mic
Yeah.
in
and
the
I
room.
still chose to come. So.
Yeah.
We almost set this guy straight.
Yeah.
Well, no, thank you very much,
Thank
listeners.
you.
We appreciate you as always. If you've got questions for Kevin, you know how to get a hold of us. We'll do the old operator plug here,
Yep.
There you
plug
go.
it right into Kevin.
Thank you guys.
All right, until next time.
Take care.
Have a good one.